Director Christensen's not here, but I think we should just get started, so we start on time. Can you please, well, I have to announce that we have a remote attendee, Dr. Tom LaHue, so everything's going to be roll call today. Please remember to speak into your microphones, directors, and also we have Kyler Radin here to help out with Josh's job because he can't make it. And will you please administer the roll call?
Director Balboni.
Present.
Vice President LaHue.
Here.
Director Jaffe.
Here.
Director Christensen is absent, and President Lather.
Here. There were no agenda adjustments previously discussed, but are there any with the board members at this point? No? Okay, so we will move on to public comment. Do we have any members of the public here to speak on something that's not on the agenda? Yes, maybe you better turn it on. I don't think it's on.
Right there. Is that good? Okay.
And you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Get started? Okay. Well, good evening, board members and staff of the Soquel Water District. My name is Gerald O'Regan, and I reside at 207 Farley Drive in Aptos. I'm here this evening to respectfully request a variance from the requirement to install a separate water service for our ADU, which would add approximately $40,000 to the cost. Granting this variance would help make the project more affordable without compromising the district's water management goals. In short, it would promote the district's objectives for sustainable housing and responsible water use. The proposed ADU is small. It's 460 square feet and includes a kitchenette and a small bathroom. The fixture count for the ADU is about 8. The ADU is attached to the existing home and was designed to house an aging parent. I'd now like to talk about fairness, water conservation, and cost. In terms of fairness, other ADUs such as junior ADUs and conversion ADUs are not subject to this requirement by the district. Additionally, home remodeling projects, which increase the fixture count, do not trigger a new water service. All of these ADUs and remodels can be much bigger and have a much larger fixture count than our ADU, but do not trigger a new service requirement. Nearby water districts also would not require a new service. The city of Scotts Valley, San Lorenzo Valley Water District, the city of Watsonville would not require a new water service for our ADU, probably because it's so small, 460 square feet, and their requirements start somewhere around 750. The city of Santa Cruz has also indicated that they are unlikely to require a new service. In terms of water conservation, water usage at our existing home has been historically very low because we practice conservation. All fixtures in our existing home are high efficiency models, and our landscaping consists solely of low water demand plants. The ADU will have a low fixture count, all fixtures shall be high efficiency, and we will fully comply or exceed with all district requirements. By keeping the property on a single service, the water used by the residents and the ADU will be combined into one bill. And so higher, more expensive water tiers would be reached sooner. This creates an economic incentive to conserve water. One service for the ADU and the residents would lead to water conservation because we wouldn't want to get into those higher tiers. The estimated cost, again, is $40,000 for this new service. The figure includes $25,000 to trench out to the street and tap into the water line. There's then $15,000, not just for the district, but partly for the district, and also to trench onto our property to put the service in. So in summary, I would say instead of installing a separate water service, I propose utilizing the existing water service for both the existing residents and the ADU. This is justified because the current service is sufficient, it is consistent with nearby water agencies and the district's rules for other ADUs and remodeling projects, and it promotes water conservation. By granting this variance, the district shall support the development of much-needed affordable housing while still upholding the water conservation objectives. I think I've gone over, so I'll stop there, but thank you for not stopping me earlier.
Oh, I thought
If
about
there's any
it.
questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Can we discuss this? No, we can't because it's not an agendized item, but thank you for providing the information. And maybe we can have an item at the next meeting. I don't know, to,
We do have a process. If Mr. O'Regan would like to file a variance request, then that could be agendized and brought to the board, and staff can help you with that.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I've been talking to Taj. He told me I should come here, and then it would be agendized, and then I would come back at the next meeting and talk again or something. I think that's what he told me. Is that incorrect?
Staff can talk to you after the meeting potentially, but at this point, since this is not an agendized item, we have to limit discussion to what's on the agenda.
Okay. Melody, can you tell me what you suggested, that I fill out a form or something?
Yes, staff can work with you on that.
Okay, so I should maybe circle back with Taj and ask him what the procedure is?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
We'll see you soon.
thank you. Are there any other members of the public here to speak on an item not on the agenda? Okay, so at that point, I'm going to take it to our directors. Do you have anything to discuss that's not on the agenda? Or I should say, information to provide?
I do. So I'm one of the two representatives on the Mid-County Groundwater Agency. Carla Christensen is the other. And I just want to put out there that the agency is looking for private well pumpers to be part of the board, two of them in particular. And the applications are due the 29th of this month. And just wanted to put that out in this setting as well, in case somebody's watching.
Okay, anybody else have anything to share? Okay, hurry up, because I'm going to move on. We will move on to the consent items. Okay, so now we're at the consent item. Is there any public comment on any of the items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will move to the board members. And do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent items.
So Director Balboni made the motion and Christensen seconded.
Question. We're allowed to pull items from the consent agenda if we want to talk about them in more detail. I just wanted to make a comment on one of the items, not have a discussion. Does that need to be pulled? Okay. So, yeah, I'd like to make the comment now then. It's on let me find it. It's number 4, the production report. And for 2025, I just wanted to note that June through September is following a different pattern than the previous 4 years. And at some point, I'd like to see a discussion about that. And also, Melanie, remind me, how often do we have a evapotranspiration index that we compare to production? How often does that come up?
It typically does come with the production report. We also will be having an item before the end of the year related to demand projections as part of the urban water management plan.
I see it's here. Okay, good, because that could possibly help with understanding the difference in trends.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those we have to do roll call.
Director Balboni,
Yes.
Vice President LaHue,
Yes.
Director Jaffe,
So I was not here for for the minutes for the last meeting, so I can vote yes and just abstain from that one item. Is that correct? It's one of the,
My understanding is you don't have to abstain, but if you want to, you can.
how does it work if I vote for everything, but I'm not here for that meeting? I can't vote on that because although I did watch it, you know.
You can abstain from the item.
Okay, so then I vote yes with abstaining from 4.1.1, September 16th, 2025 board meeting because I wasn't here for that.
Director Christensen,
Yes.
and President Lather.
Yes. So we will move on to reports. Is there a general counsel report?
Just wanted to announce that my name is Kyler Radin. I'm here for Josh Nelson today, and I'm happy to be here. That's about it.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so now we can move on to business items. These are specific business items, and the first one is consider approval of a conditional will serve letter for Pine Tree Lane Mutual Water Company. Taj, you're going to be presenting, right?
I will. Yes, thank you. This is a local municipal or mutual water company within the district service area off of New Brighton Road and near McGregor Drive. And there's about 38 existing residences that are being served by their own well. And they are interested in making a connection to the district. And we're not surprised by this. When Potbelly Beach did their connection down on the beach front homes, there was a T and a stub out for this in the future. And so they're aware of the connection fees and the process. We did confirm with LAFCO that there is no action on their part because all of the parcels are within our service area. And so this is kind of the first step for them to take in getting funding and financing for this effort. If the board approves this, they're going to have to provide the funding for connection fees as well as design of the main extension and construction of the main extension.
Okay, do we have any, thank you. Do we have any members of the public here to speak on this item? Okay, please come up.
My name is Rich Ross, and I'm president of Pine Tree Lane Mutual Water. And thank you, Taj, for giving an accurate description of our circumstances. As you probably all know, we're quite close to the beach, and as a result, we're at risk also for saltwater intrusion. We have not experienced any, but the concern, obviously, long-term is that may be an issue. Secondary to that, because of our geographic isolation, there are a number of upcoming State Water Board requirements that we will not be able to meet. Additional fire supply, a backup source of water, unless obviously we would connect to you. We do obviously have an aging system. It was put in 1962 and it hasn't improved with age. But so we are well aware that the entire system needs to be replaced and brought up to current standards. So there's approximately 70 residents or so. It varies. Some of the homes are seasonal. The majority of them are full-time occupants. And we appreciate you considering letting us join your organization, and or your capabilities are appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Were you there when I worked for the county and brought in the sewer for you?
Yes.
So I'm not surprised that you need water now.
Well, as you well know, the sewer was an interesting project to do.
It was very challenging for such a short
Yes.
distance, but yes.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Well, thank you.
so I understand your issues.
Okay.
Anyone, I'll bring it back to the board. Anyone have any comments or questions?
I have a question. What about
I
the state park? Where does their water come from?
They're a customer of ours.
They are already.
Yes.
They're pretty. Should be some lines there.
Right. Yeah,
So-
exactly. We're kind of an island in the middle of
Walk by your house all the time. I'm sure.
excellent. So you know the facility or the background. So okay. Well, thank you very much.
I had a,
Anyone else on the board have anything to say?
Just
Or
two
another-
quick things,
do.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
trying to raise my
Forgot
hand.
about you, Tom.
Yeah, I've raised my hand, wasn't
You
sure
got to
what else
speak a
to
little
do.
bit louder.
Okay. I was just thinking about when Potbelly Beach did it and this is achieving one of our long-term goals of just moving pumping away from the coast. So I think it's great. So there's one less well pumping real close to the coast if we do this.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Well, and
Tom?
to that point, there's one private well for one house on our street. I don't know the history, but it's been there for duration. And obviously, they've expressed interest in participating in this, so that well would go away as well. So,
Great,
Great.
thank you.
thank you.
Anybody? I think you can sit down.
Just a question for staff. Oh, go ahead. You're first.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just had a question about, will the Pine Tree customers pay the district rates immediately?
Once the meters are installed, yes.
Okay, so all of the capital projects and infrastructure upgrades would happen first, and all of the quality control of the water and it could be 8 months from now.
Yeah, I think it might be a little longer than that. They got to come up with some financing for that.
Okay, and it's thinking about financing, does the Department of Drinking Water or some of the propositions like 168, do they provide money for the district to help with that, or for the mutual water company to do their own? How does that work?
I'm going to let Mr. Ross address that question.
Okay, where does the funding come from?
From us. Basically, I've done extensive research over the course of the last several years to try and figure out whether there was, in fact, money available. And to what I've come back with is either we have to be an economically disadvantaged community, which we obviously are not, or we have to have an immediate emergency need, i.e. saltwater intrusion, which we currently do not have. Those are the only two available state-sponsored sources of funding for a community or a municipal water system like ours. So we will be self-funding all of that.
Okay, great. And then I just wanted to reiterate kind of what Tom had mentioned about the goodness of having, the wells not being pumped privately. But also it sounds like it would really kind of show the eagerness of the district to provide, regional stewardship and reliability. So that seems a very positive aspect. Thank you.
Significantly improves fire protection as well. Okay, thank you.
So, a question for staff. We used to have a water demand offset program. Were they to come on during that, they would be paying quite a large sum of money to become part of the district. Now, what do they buy into now? How does that compare to what was paid when we had the water demand offset program going?
Yeah, well, there's two things that are actually have changed. The water demand offset program is no longer in place, but also our water capacity fees were revised at the last rate study. And so that eliminated the marginal part of the water capacity fee. So that went away, and then the buy-in component remains. And so it's not that that has gone down. They still have to pay to buy into the system, but they're not paying in for that future source of supply, which they will be paying for as a customer with their rates.
Good timing. Good timing. And I don't think it's a coincidence. But I totally agree with what Director Lehu and Director Balboni have said, that it is our goal to protect our aquifer, and coastal pumping near the coasts is a potential source to increase seawater intrusion. So I'm very supportive that you're going to be joining the district.
I think, and just for some additional add-on information to Director Balboni's question, what's being proposed tonight is a will serve letter. So that initiates the process, and then the mutual water company will be continuing to work with staff, identifying the infrastructure that is needed, the costs associated with joining into the district, and if there's a main extension agreement necessary, that will then come back for the unconditional. And then after that, they would become, we drop the meter in, and then they would start being a district customer.
Where is the water main for that area?
There is a water main in New Brighton Road.
You could put the map back up so she can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, so New Brighton Road has an 8-inch water main that goes all the way down to the beach to serve the Potbelly homes. And there's
That's right.
it's a very straightforward, I don't know, maybe there's other challenges that I'm not aware of that President Lather mentioned, but it's a straight, street. So, relatively straightforward in our eyes for a water main installation.
And just a follow-up question. So once they become part of the district, then the mains that are built will be our responsibility. So obviously, we're going to work closely with them to make sure that they meet the standards that we have.
That's correct.
Okay.
So do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Oh,
I'll second.
hold on. Did you have something?
I just wanted to remind the board about asking for public comment for this matter before voting.
Oh,
Oh, I thought I already did. Yeah, that's when he came up.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay. It's not, sometimes I do forget, so thank you. So who made the motion?
I did.
Second.
Okay. Dr. Jaffe made the motion and Director Balboni seconded. Can we have a roll call, please?
Director Balboni,
Aye.
Vice President Lehu,
Yes.
Director Jaffe,
Good luck and yes.
Director Christensen,
Yes.
and President Lather.
Yes. So now we can move on to 6.3, adopt Soquel Creek Water District Employee Handbook. Do we have a presentation?
We're gonna
Or
go.
did I miss that? Oh, sorry, 6.2.
We're gonna have some staff come up for a second, so we're gonna do some.
Okay.
And hold on, really quick.
I'm just so excited about the handbook.
I'm sure you read it all.
I did.
Believe it or not, I did too.
All right, good evening, board. I'm going to tee off this next agenda item, 6.2, which is an informational item on the notification and an update on the recent activities related to the hexavalent chromium compliance that the district is undertaking. Tonight, we're joined with Cameron Costigan Mumper, our Associate Manager for Water Resources, as well as Kara Clark, our Water Quality Compliance Coordinator, and Becca Rubin, our Public Outreach Coordinator. So Cameron, you want to kick it off?
Thanks, Melanie, and good evening. I am happy to be here. Oh, yeah. Let's see. How's that? Are we there? Okay. All right. Yeah, so we're here to give an update tonight on hexavalent chromium compliance. Here is the agenda for tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about the background of hexavalent chromium. I'm also going to talk a little bit about chromium regulations and district activities over time. And then I'll hand it over to Kara Clark, who's going to give us a discussion around some of the statewide context and the regulatory compliance data that we've collected from our system. And then we'll hand it over to Becca, who's going to talk about the state requirements for the MCL exceedance and public notification process. And Kara will go ahead and wrap it up for us with our compliance action plan and some of our next steps.
Cameron, can I ask a question first off?
Yes.
I did miss last meeting, so perhaps it was discussed then. So this is an informational item. So this has already been done, basically, at this point. You're not asking for board input.
Correct. It's just an informational item.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. So a little bit of background on chromium. Chromium, it's naturally occurring in the environment. It's found in rocks and plants. It's also found in humans and animals. In the environment, chromium itself exists predominantly in two forms. You have your trivalent chromium, or chrome-3, as we'll be talking about, and then also you have hexavalent chromium, or chrome-6. Chrome-3, it's the more common form that's found in the environment, typically in your rocks and soil. It is an essential nutrient for the human diet, and it's a pretty stable form of chromium. Now, chrome-6, on the other hand, it's less common than its chrome-3 counterpart. It's also found in the environment naturally. It is less stable than chrome-3. It's also more mobile and toxic. While it is naturally occurring in the environment, it's predominantly derived from like the weathering of rocks and soil. And it can also be found in the environment as a byproduct of industrial processes, such as chrome plating, certain tanning processes. There's electroplating, and typically processes that use like high heat and generate oxidative conditions. Together, both chrome-3 and chrome-6 constitute what we call total chromium, which is a lab measurement that essentially captures the common oxidative states of chromium itself. So in our basin, chrome-6 is naturally occurring in the Aromas Red Sands aquifer. It's not a byproduct of those industrial processes that I was just mentioning. So I just want to reiterate that. In terms of the water quality standards for both total chromium and chrome-6, for total chromium, we have a federal standard of 100 parts per billion and a state standard of 50 parts per billion. This is for total chromium, right? And then as a reminder, when we're talking about parts per billion, when we say 1 part per billion, that's roughly equivalent to a drop of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which is roughly, over 600,000 gallons. So for chrome-6 now, moving on to that, there is no federal standard for chrome-6. However, there is this new state standard of 10 parts per billion. And so what that means is 10 drops of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. One thing that I'll also note, too, is that California is the only place in the world with a chrome-6 standard that we're aware of.
Yeah, right.
That's right. So to move on to a little bit of the history of the chrome-6 regulations and district activities, Apologize, the font size is a little small here on some of this, so I'll try to just talk through it a little bit. In 1977, California adopted a total chromium drinking water standard and set a maximum contaminant level, or MCL, of 50 parts per billion. This MCL was based off the federal interim drinking water standard for chromium that was set in 1975 for both the trivalent, or the chrome 3 form, and then the hexavalent, or the chrome 6 form. And then in 1991, the federal EPA revised the standard to 100 parts per billion for total chromium. And now if we fast forward to 2011 timeframe, between 2011 and 2013, the district evaluated some treatment technologies in anticipation of California adopting the then new MCL for chrome 6 of 10 parts per billion. And then in 2014, the district implemented the first pilot treatment system in the state, and even went so far as to construct a raw water main to the location of the proposed full-scale treatment system. But I didn't mean to advance the slide there. But in 2017, California actually rescinded that MCL of 10 parts per billion due to legal challenges, and the system design and construction was put on halt. And so fast forward again now to 2024, California reinstated the rescinded MCL of 10 parts per billion, and the district began piloting a different type of treatment technology to address chrome 6 levels. And so where we're at now in 2025 is the district, we've completed the pilot study earlier this year, and the design for the full-scale system is currently underway. And so last thing before I hand it over to Kara to talk about Chrome 6 in the statewide context and some of our compliance data, is that, prior to the creation of this new MCL for Chrome 6, the district's drinking water met all of the federal and state standards without any form of water treatment. But moving forward, this will no longer be the case. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having me.
Now we have Kara.
I'm Kara Clark. So I'm going to talk through Chrome 6 in the context of the whole state of California, and then some of the specific results from our wells. So this was based on data that was collected between 2012 and 2022. We have more recent data, but the statewide data that's on the Water Board's website is a little older. But based on this information, there are over 325 sources in California that have an average source concentration of above 10 parts per billion, the new MCL. And as I mentioned, this information is coming from the State Board, and there's a link on the bottom. And those sources are individual wells, so not water districts or other entities. It's specific sources. There are even higher concentrations, above 40 parts per billion, in some counties, including Riverside, Yolo, LA, and Ventura. But zooming into our area, you can see that green line is wells that are between 10 and 20 parts per billion. And so overall in California, there are 263 wells that are in that range of above 10 but below 20. And Santa Cruz County, there are 16 wells in that range, and 3 of those are our wells. So we have 3 wells in that are above 10 of our 15 active wells. We do have one that had higher levels above 30, but it is not in use, and it's not an active well, and it's, yeah, so that one isn't part of the ongoing discussion since it's not in use. So moving on to the specific information about the monitoring that we conducted in relation to the regulatory requirements and the new MCL. In response to the new MCL being established in October of 2024, we were required to do an initial round of monitoring of all wells in Q1 of 2025. So we did that in March. And the average across all of our wells was 3.2 parts per billion. And that's not a weighted average. It doesn't account for production numbers or anything like that. It's just a snapshot of all of the wells in March of this year. The range was from undetectable. Many of the wells were what's called non-detect from the laboratory. So there was no detectable level of Chrome 6. And then the highest one was 17 parts per billion. So the 3 wells that have higher levels are Bonita, San Andreas, and Seascape. And so for the wells that were not above, once we collected that initial measurement, we then have to collect a sample every 3 years for those wells. But for the 3 that are higher, we have to collect quarterly. And the compliance is based on a running annual average that averages multiple quarters. And so we collected in the first, second, and third quarters of this year. And then once we got to the third quarter, that kicked the average over 10. So these averages here, Bonita was 10.5, San Andreas was 12.5, and Seascape was 12. Those are based on 3 quarters of results. So once we received the results that kicked the average over the new MCL, then we're required to send out notifications and submit a compliance plan. So we did submit a compliance plan in October, or we submitted it in September, but it was approved by the State Water Board in October. So we do have an approved compliance plan. And then in mid-October of this week, we began sending out Tier 2 notifications. And Becca, our public outreach coordinator, is going to talk about that.
Thanks, Kara. Good evening, directors. Can you move the slide forward for me? Thanks. So as Kara said, Tier 2 notifications are going out this week. So once we notified the state, that started a countdown for us. Because we exceeded the MCL, it required a Tier 2 notification to all of our customers, and this is a state mandate when you exceed an MCL. And it's intended to inform the public about a significant but non-emergency issue that poses a potential risk to our health. And so right now, I just want to point out, it's an exceedance, not a violation, until after the applicable compliance date of October 1st of 2026. And you can see in the bottom right, there's a little chart that shows compliance dates for depending on the size of your water systems. So because we have 10,000 or more services that we service, our compliance date is October 1st of 2026, which is a pretty aggressive compliance date from the state because they put this MCL into effect October 1st of 2024. So they expected all the bigger water systems to become in compliance in just 2 years, which we know is almost impossible with going through CEQA, planning, design, construction. So yes, so once past October 1st, 2026, that's when we will be in violation. But right now we're just in exceedance. Next slide, please. So we got to choose, they have different methods that you can choose from notifying customers. You have to pick a primary and a secondary. So our primary method is for customers receiving a paper bill, they'll get a paper notice. And then for all customers getting e-bills, they will receive an email with the notification as an attachment. And then our secondary method is our website. You can see that's the notice there in the black and white, double-sided, and then a little snapshot of our website. And on the notice has CARES information, so people can contact her if they want to talk about it more. And also the website, which has FAQs that people can scroll through and talk about. That's it for me. Thank you.
you. So as I mentioned, we submitted a compliance plan and it was approved. And the compliance plan lays out steps to accomplish and a timeline for those steps. Step 1 is treatment system design, and that is in progress. We do have 90% designs, so we're undergoing that final step of going from 90% to 100%. And part of that will also be getting cost estimates. We anticipate receiving the 100% designs by the end of the year and being able to submit to the state board in January of next year. The next step is constructing the treatment system. This one is pending. We've selected a site. The Bonito Well site will be a centralized treatment location. And we've selected the optimal technology to accomplish the treatment. It's based on using something called ferrous chloride. And then the process is reduction, coagulation, filtration. And there were several reasons this treatment technique was selected, but one of them is ease of use. Our operators already use ferrous chloride at some of our other wells, and so they're familiar with it. And the reduction, coagulation, filtration is a very standard water treatment technology, but used in sort of a new way, specifically for Chrome 6. We anticipate that we could begin construction in March of next year. Another part of the action plan, the compliance plan, is to construct a pipeline to bring the raw water from San Andreas and Seascape to the Bonito Well site for treatment. And that process is already completed, so we have the raw pipeline in place. And finally, once we're at or nearing completion, we'll need to submit an operations plan to show the state board exactly how we plan to operate the system before we actually bring it online. And the state board made sure to make note, in that top right, there's a note that they did approve the compliance plan, but that does not constitute full approval of the proposed project. So we'll need to submit a permit amendment and have the operations plan reviewed by the state. So finally, some next steps. As I mentioned, we'll continue a design of the treatment plant. And then we'll continue quarterly monitoring for those 3 wells, and we'll send notifications as required by the state until we're in compliance. And with that, I think we can take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, I will move the comments to the board.
So these notices go to all our customers, even though they're not served by the 3 wells?
Great question. And yes, we proposed to the state to be able to only notify the people in that area, and they said no.
Yeah.
I said we couldn't. What's the right word? Oh, Taj isn't here.
They said that in an emergency, we couldn't guarantee that those sub-areas would be isolated completely, because that was part of our proposal, that we could valve off that complete area and only use those wells for that area and all the other wells for the rest of the district. But they didn't feel, they're very conservative in their interpretation of the regulations, and so they the thought that there could be a possibility of water moving through the system. And we did do, we collected a sample at the Aptos PRV, which moves water from sub-area 3 to sub-area 2. And it was very low at that point. It was 1.3. So we feel confident that the rest of the district is receiving very low and negligible levels, but the state board did require the notifications for the entire district.
Well, I think Karen, Becca have summarized it really well in terms of the guidance that we've been getting from DDW. It is very conservative. It is kind of an overall entire system. They have also given the same guidance and direction to other water agencies. We just have been communicating with Watsonville, who did their entire notification a couple months ago, and it also included their entire service area. So at this point, we are also going forward with this, but we are still continuing to try to work with the state on this.
So what's being done to get ahead of the game on people who get notices who are not in an area with has high Chrome 6 to let them know that it was state that mandated this? Is there something that's going to be put up on our website, or how do you expect to handle that? Or what are your plans?
Great question. For the general public, we haven't gone out or said anything about that. On our website, we talk about those wells specifically being in seascape. We haven't said, people in sub-area 1 and sub-area 2 do not receive this water straight out yet. I have been in contact with all the school districts to get ahead of it for them, because on the notice, you'll see on the backside the requirement for schools and businesses and multifamily type residences that need to notify their people. And so I've been talking with all the schools to let them know. Karen and I just actually met with Santa Cruz Montessori yesterday and explained to them, you're going to receive this notice, you have to do this noticing to your families, but you do not receive this water. So we're being very transparent about that when we meet with people.
I think there should be something on our website with more information about how the notice is required by the state.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's going out to everybody, even though they might not be affected.
Yeah, so
higher levels.
Becca developed a great FAQ, which is on the website under the Chrome 6 page. So the Chrome 6 page has the notification, but it also has additional information and FAQs showing more information to hopefully relieve people's concerns.
We did, when we were speaking with Watsonville, we did find out after they noticed they only received about 30 phone calls. So we're going to track what comes in for us as well, just to see where it's landing with people.
Okay. And it'd be good to have a FAQ about why people are receiving the notice.
Yes.
I'm looking at the FAQs right now.
There is one lower down if you see view more.
Why did I get a notice?
Yes.
Maybe we move that one up.
We can move that to the top.
Like first one.
Sure.
Or not first, but above, yeah. Okay.
Anyone else have any comments? One of the things that I think would be helpful is for us as a board or as a community, just understand how the water system works. Because I think that's part of it. How does this, where does the water come from for each zone? I know we've talked about it, but it'd be nice to have some kind of handout or something that could help us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can work on something graphical.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Maybe you've already done that.
Yeah, I'm guessing what zone 3 and zone 2 are. And I've been on the board for many years, so I can only imagine that somebody.
We do have a map on the
I know.
website, but not on that page, so I think that's a very good idea to move the map to that page, and so people can visually see, oh, I live here, but those wells are down here.
Gotcha.
even, there's tanks and wells. I mean, just the big part, like this well pumps to this tank, which flows to this area, and that's zone 3 or whatever it is. I think it would be nice. I know I asked for a district map to review when I first started, but I didn't get around to it. So maybe something more simple would be better.
And I'd like to compliment you on the sheet that's being sent out or being emailed. I think it does a very good job of explaining the situation, and it brings in the history too in a very good way. So compliments to all that worked on this.
Thank you, Director Jaffe.
It might be worth having at the ready too, explaining that we're treating water in some cases after even though the MCL had been rescinded by the state, we continue to work on, keeping those levels from getting to customers. Or we ran water through the RO, NODAs for a while. Did work on that.
We did do some work on the previous pilot. That work did cease for a while the state was going through and reevaluating it. But then knowing that the MCL was going to be continuing to go through the state evaluation, and then once it was readopted, or as the state I think is saying it's newly readopted, down to the 10 MCL, we started right away. Both, the water quality team, the engineering team, initiated the work again. That's why we're already at about a 90% design work. As both Becca, Cameron, and Kara have reiterated to you tonight, as well as to a lot of the people that we talk to, either customers or at the collaboration with other municipalities or the state level, this schedule is extremely aggressive. 2 years, again, to go through all of this I'd be amazed to see who can actually meet the October 1st, 2026 timeline. So that's another point that we're trying to share, is that the previous work and then the work that we are doing has been, I think, with as much due diligence as we can. It's really hard when something like this comes forward that is an unfunded mandate. The financial part of this, even though the state has gone through the economic analysis, we're seeing small agencies, very small, smaller than us. We consider ourselves a small agency, but those really small public water systems, and then all the way to the very, very large ones that have, hundreds of $millions to have to do this in 2 years. I think there's going to be a lot of discussion through the state. I think this first wave of agencies in California that are starting to do the notifications. So we are watching others that are going to be going through this and helping and learning from each other.
It's a credit to our district, actually. I would think that we are really so even capable of reaching that goal because that timeline, because I think it's all based on the past work that we did.
And Tom will remember in 2014, it was very innovative, the technology that we were trying out. And the reason why we've gone to the new technology is, frankly, cost. It's a lot cheaper to our customers. And
I think there's less waste to worry about as well.
yes, that too. Yeah.
From 3.
Yeah.
Just really quick, I wanted to ask about, the number of phone calls. There were 30 to Watsonville. I assume there'll be quite a few more here. But the extra notice on the schools and the business property owners and the assisted living, et cetera, they have to notify their own customers. So I imagine they'll be calling and asking, how should I do this? Do we have some simple way to kind of, explain what's been done, or do we just tell them, do it? What's that process? Just curious.
Great question. It's up to their discretion how they want to notify. I've provided, PVUSD had already notified all their schools from Watsonville. So I've been sharing what they have said to their families to the other schools. And so if we get businesses or other things that call either one of us, we're going to tell them, you can use our notice, or just here's a paragraph that you can send out with the link to our website for more information.
Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great. If there are examples on our website of notifications that we're good. Yeah. Well, one thing I will share, since this has been an ongoing concern for the district, is I've learned that ingestion of Chrome 6 is not a problem, because your stomach acid turns it into Chrome 3 very quickly. So that's some solace.
Yeah, I think in the presentation today, it talked a lot about the health effects have to do with inhalation.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's in showers, you know,
Yeah, it's in showers, yeah.
that's the main route of exposure.
And I think Director Jaffe, you had mentioned, if this was an informational item or an action item. We've done action items previously related to, like, when we awarded the design contract for the hexavalent chromium. This is informational, primarily due to, after the 3/4 of sampling, us having to notify the state, and then that triggers the tier 2 notifications that are required to go out. So I think Becca and the team have been doing some broad outreach related to it. We've been talking about how, our water quality is, we have water quality standards that are underway or would be pending, but this is the first official notification that was triggered by the state based upon that 3rd quarter sampling that came in earlier this month.
And when does it hit the street, the notifications? I'm sure you said it, but I must.
This week.
Okay, so.
Mail, who knows what day it'll land in mailbox.
Sure.
Emails should go out most likely Thursday.
Yeah. I'm sure the board and other members of the board want to be kept informed of what the reaction is. In particular, if there's many, many phone calls, I'd like to know about that. And
Yes, and if you get a lot of questions, please refer them to staff and we can address that.
okay.
And I appreciate that you give us this informational item so that if somebody does ask us, we don't look like deer in the headlights wondering what they're talking about. So thank you.
Good job. I really like the material.
Okay, now to my favorite item, 6.3. Adopt Soquel Creek Water District Employee Handbook.
I want to thank the people who wrote this. I was having trouble sleeping.
I didn't know how to take that comment, but I hope you did have a chance to read through the whole thing.
I did, actually. I stayed awake for it.
I'm David. I'm the HR manager for Soquel Water District. Good evening. This memo is seeking your authorization to...
Yeah, it might not be on. Okay.
This action item is seeking your authorization of the employee handbook for 2025 and to direct staff to make any non-substantial formatting revisions as needed as we go forward. Over the past 8 months, I've been looking at all of the employment policies in the district, and we felt it was appropriate to bring to the board an updated handbook that brings the current policies that we circulate to staff up to the current legal standards. Some of the policies that had been on the books for years had not been updated, and we wanted to make sure we had an updated, legally compliant handbook that we could distribute with staff. Over the past several months, I've also met with each of the employee organizations, SEIU, the mid-managers group, and the managers for their feedback so that we could meet and confer regarding these changes. They've made several suggestions that were incorporated into the handbook, And we bring forward to you this document that reflects those changes that will then later, upon your authorization, circulate to our staff. That concludes my presentation.
Now I'll open it to public comment. Is there any public comment? I see no one here, so I will close the public comment part and open the floor to the directors for discussion and questions.
I just have a question. How different is this than the 2005 version? And you made it legally compliant, but were there any other areas where it required revamping the policies?
There were. Actually, the 2005 version was one that went to the board for authorization. I went and looked for past action items. This is significantly different from that. However, there were versions of the employee handbook that had been revised over time. So it's just, this is the first version that's come back to you for authorization since 2005, so you have that visibility. This most recent version took out sections that were redundant and also incorporates references to the MOU agreements for when appropriate, so that we don't have any conflicts with MOUs. Also, for example, some recent changes in state law with regards to bereavement leave and others have been updated in the handbook. Also, the prohibition against harassment and our policies against reporting harassment have also been updated so that we have that in our handbook. We'll also make changes to other employee documents like the MOUs with regard to some of our harassment policies as well in the coming year. So those are examples of some of the changes.
I had a question. Have there been laws passed about bullying in the workplace? I thought there had been.
There have been, and the harassment policy incorporates that so that if there are examples of bullying or let's say harassment level,
It's not sexual.
it could encompass sexual, or like if there are some sites of bullying, but that is incorporated in the policy we have in the handbook, so that it is something that if an employee feels that they have been threatened in a way that rises to the level of notification, they're to notify their supervisor or the HR department as appropriate. I don't know if the general counsel wants to speak to those changes in law referring to. But.
We did have it reviewed by our counsel, right?
That's correct. I believe Laura Fowler from Best and Krieger worked with staff.
That's correct.
And Laura was the attorney that came and did the presentations for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to compliment you on the fact that it's been circulated widely to the appropriate groups, SEIU representatives and managers, mid-managers, employee representatives, and I think that's a great approach that you've done with this.
Thank you, Director Jaffe.
In my life, in my career, I've come in and cleaned up stuff like that. And I have a place in my heart for somebody that does that, because I think it's really important and it's not that easy.
And I'll just comment, both reflecting those two comments that you just made. We actually had a meeting not only individually with the employee associations, but I brought them all together at the time so we could also talk through recommended changes so that there was transparency and we were able to kind of have some of the recommended revisions reflected and also known to each of the groups before it's distributed to the employees.
Good job. Anybody else have anything to say?
No, it's a good job. It's really clear. Sometimes they're just, I guess, after being edited so many times, they're just get kind of jumbled. But nice to. Is there a legal requirement or a regulatory for regular updating?
Yeah, this will be something that will annually review and as appropriate, bring back revisions to the board so that you know what changes might have been made, and then also discuss with the employee associations as needed.
So do I have a motion to approve or adopt?
need one?
Excuse me. Yes,
do.
we need a motion to adopt the, oh, Tom, did you have something to say? I
Thank
can't
for
see you,
asking,
so
but
I
I'm-
don't
I'm
know.
okay, but why don't I go ahead and make the motion to adopt it while I'm here?
Oh, great, thank you.
Second.
Motion by Director LaHue and seconded by Director Christensen. Please roll call.
Director Balboni,
Yes.
Vice President LaHue,
Yes?
Director Jaffe,
Yes.
Director Christensen,
Yes.
and President Lather.
Yes. So at this time, we're going to go into closed session. There's the opportunity for public comment on the closed session items at this time. I don't see anybody here. So we will move the meeting to closed session. And there's no public members here, so they don't need to be asked to exit the room. And please
Just let me know
confirm.
how to take part, yeah.
And Tom, he's going to call in on a separate line, is that right?
Tom, there's a Teams link sent to you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll go look for that.
Okay, and so we'll wait. We could take a short break so we can use the restroom while they get the video turned off.